Welcome, everyone, to the dance floor, where life lessons are learned through the art of dance. I'm your host, Anna Harsh, and today I have a very special guest, Marcella Galvan, and she is a dancer and a professional photographer from San Antonio, Texas. Please welcome to the dance floor, Marcella. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Marcella, I've been admiring your Instagram photos of dancers and just your work and your resume. Oh my gosh, you just are amazing. And I'm so intrigued and inspired from a person that's been around doing this for a long time. Gosh, I love seeing new, fresh ideas and fresh things. So tell us a little bit about your experience. You just graduated this past year with your dance degree.
Yes, I just graduated in April from Point Park University, earning my BFA in dance with a concentration in ballet. And yes, it's been a whole journey these past 4 years, and I'm excited to be back home for a little bit, take some time here, and then in January, I'll be moving up to New York. But alongside that, I've been doing some photography here with some dancers at different studios and just continuing on with that other passion of mine and hopefully to take it up to New York when I go up in January.
That's awesome. And I think that's such a great idea. I love when dancers take up another art form. You really get that perspective. Like as a dancer, you know what it's like to take those photos and be on film.
Exactly.
We're going to talk today about headshots, how to get that great headshot, how to get an action shot.
Yes.
Gosh, we all love that, right?
Oh my
So
God.
let's dive in. Marcella, what do you think we should do? Like if we're new at getting headshots, there's a whole slew of things we have to think about. But how about let's start with just hair, makeup, and maybe what to wear.
Yes, I think it also really depends on if you want to have a headshot per se for concert dance versus if you want to go into musical theater or commercial dance. I feel like those headshots range. So if you want to do a professional, maybe ballet or contemporary type of shot, maybe you're auditioning for a ballet company or you're going to a ballet school, then I would think of having very minimal makeup or makeup that you would wear maybe from a day-to-day basis, very neutral. At the same time, maybe you want to have a headshot with your hair slicked back in a bun for one of them. And then I also love doing a shot that I've done in the past where dancers have their hair down in a certain way, they do it a certain way. And then the girls would wear a strapless top. So it's a very clean look. So there's no straps, there's no leotards, nothing distracting. It's just them. And so I've done that a lot. Yes, it's just their face. We get to see their personality. I think that's the key for headshots is capturing their personality in one shot, because I feel like when we go to auditions, they want to see who you are within that one shot. They might not be able to talk to you, but within that one photo they get to see who you are. And so for, like I said, for ballet and contemporary, I would go with maybe more that style. And then for the more commercial / theater realm, I would maybe do a little bit more makeup. Maybe you have a fun taste in makeup, or you have a favorite outfit that you love. Maybe you have a favorite color shirt that you want to wear that maybe matches your eyes or brings out your green eyes. So you want to have something that's fun and quirky and brings out your personality. And for that too, there's a lot of different ways you can do different backdrops, maybe more colorful backdrops. And also posing is also different. So I feel for the more ballet and contemporary realm, it's going to be very clean. So you either want a straightforward pose. I also love posing dancers that are more towards the side, angled a little bit, so we can see their head a certain way. Or there's even one that I love doing, and I always look back on it. I'm I love how it just came out, and it was of my roommate, and it was for her ballet audition for Nashville Ballet, and we posed her to the side, and she had her hair that was falling over. It was the most beautiful headshot ever, and she got so many compliments when she went to the Nashville Ballet audition. They were who took this headshot? The way you're posed, the way that you were just captured is so beautiful. And she's oh my gosh, thank you so much. It was my roommate that took it. So I was oh my gosh, okay, headshot. So
yeah,
you never know.
And so it's fun to try those different angles and things and see what works. So maybe even some of us can do some of that at home with our phones, just to start seeing, hey, this looks good, this doesn't look good, to kind of start seeing what you like and what works for you. Just as a tester round, before we get to that photographer. So those are
Exactly.
great tips. And I
Yes.
do, like you said, ballet does want a really clean look.
Yes.
I know when I was in a ballet company, it was either like you said, like the leotard or just like no straps and just your hair down or your hair back in a bun
Exactly.
just to see clean lines.
No distractions.
No distractions in the photo. And then if you're doing something like what I start to get into, like a director or somebody that's doing choreography, yeah, it's a little more fun. Like we play around with, on a stool, standing up, an action shot, maybe just a headshot, but we're leaning or doing something with our
Exactly.
hands.
Yes, you can
So
start doing like poses with your hands, or I've seen ones, especially like for commercial, it's more body shot and they have like their hands in their pockets or their hands like crossed in front of them, just to
yeah,
show like a different side of them rather than just a plain old front face shot or a side angle
exactly.
shot. It's more of like who you are as a person. And I think it's more fun in that
I
way.
love the fun shots. I love doing photo shoots, especially like if it's just a fun day. You play music.
Oh, yes,
Sometimes they use a
exactly.
fan, something weird you have to
Yes,
hold, or
yes,
play
you gotta
around
get
with
in the mood
props.
for it.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it can be really enjoyable. It doesn't have to
Yes.
be, real serious.
Oh no.
So I think dancers get scared because they just want to look perfect and they want that perfect shot. But it doesn't have, the looser you are and the more relaxed you are, the better it's going to come out.
Exactly. We want to capture you as who you are, not as, someone else. So I know during like photo shoots and stuff, we have fun and we take like, oh gosh, I spend like sometimes hours with people just like having fun and just trying out different things. It's not about just like, oh, we're just going to take a few shots here and done. No, I want to like have fun and, take different shots and just capture what you are. It's just interesting to see like the different people that I've had photo shoots with. Some come in very timid and I'm like, no, like just open up, we're gonna have fun, like don't be scared. Like, or some other people are like, well, I've never had a headshot before, I've never been in front of a camera before. But then once we get into the groove of things, they loosen up and that's when their true personality comes out, and it's so beautiful to witness.
I know with my dancers, I usually am really silly when we take photos and I'll say, okay, pretend you have a secret or pretend, I give them a situation and then they're like all silly and crack up and start smiling. And
Right,
it's way
exactly.
better than you get their personalities pulled out.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I know that inside and outside can be really pros and cons for dancers. And I've done everything from a snow photo shoot, right?
Yes.
Or in the rain or something like that. Yes.
Oh
And
my
then I've done
gosh.
inside shots, which, require the lighting and stuff, but I really do like outdoor photos. What do you think?
I love outdoor photos. I think over everything, I love the whole studio shoot, but there's just something so special about going to different places, especially when I was in Pittsburgh. We went to, downtown Pittsburgh to capture pictures, Market Square. We went to Point State Park. We went to Station Square. We went to the Incline, just different locations to capture not only Pittsburgh, but the dancers in different environments. And what I love doing most, and I give a huge shout outs to my roommates. Oh my gosh, anytime that I was like, oh, I have an idea of a photo shoot, I'm like, are you guys down to do it? Because that's what I think photography is all about too. And especially these past few years, it's all about experimenting. It's all about just trying new things because you never know what image or what it's going to come out like. So you just kind of have to experiment with some of your friends. So one of my roommates, like you mentioned, a snow shoot, we got up. It was like one of the biggest snowstorms probably in Pittsburgh. And I borrowed one of my other friends' tutu and we got like these beautiful shots out in the snow. And I'll never forget, we were in Point State Park and people were passing by, like looking at us like we were crazy because I had a friend, one of my friends in point shoes, like no tights on. It's like freezing cold. And I'm like, hey, we're going to get this shot. And we did get the shot. They came out beautiful. I even actually went in and she took some pictures of me, which is a little bit different because I'm never really in front of the camera, but I wanted
Great.
to be in that moment because of the snow. So there's just, so many different ideas that you can do. So I personally love outdoor shoots, even though I know the lighting can be sometimes you have to kind of fix it, but there's just something so special about capturing that, different locations. And also, I don't know, it just brings out a different side of dancers, I think, than rather
Yeah,
than being in the studio all the time.
exactly. And that you can be one with nature. I know that, as the leaves start to change, gosh, I've seen some really beautiful fall photos of dancers, playing in the leaves, everything from tossing them up and doing a grand jeté to pirouetting and then throwing them outward. There's so many ideas. So I think just playing around with those ideas, like you said, maybe just grab a friend and do some test shots and get some ideas. And then that way you can bring those ideas to your photographer and say, hey, gosh, can we do this? Can we try this?
Exactly.
So do you make a list for a dancer? Like, I need these 3 moments for sure. Like, these are my goals for the day. Or do you just go with the flow for the day?
I basically have gone with the flow just to see what the dancer is feeling in that moment, what I'm kind of feeling in that moment, or what I'm inspired by in that moment. We kind of just pick one location, and we actually end up being in different locations because we're just inspired and go around to different locations. And then of course the poses too just kind of come as we go with it. Sometimes it's like jumping poses, or it's certain poses that we find, like a tree that we want to pose underneath, or a certain like walkway that's so beautiful with the snow or the different, like the leaves, like you said, that are falling in a certain way. So I feel like it's just in that moment. I love to say to just be spontaneous, because you never know what can come up. Or so I love being spontaneous and just kind of capturing in that moment. And then I also love, which is so interesting, I actually don't have dancers be in like dance clothes. I actually have them being like regular clothes, which is so fun. And they always ask me, they're like, well, what do you want me to like wear? And I'm like, oh no, I'm like, I want to know what you want to wear. It's not like my pictures. I mean, it is my pictures, but it's in the end your pictures. And I want to capture your personality in these pictures. So you pick out your outfits, like maybe it's your most favorite outfit ever, or your favorite pair of jeans, or your favorite sweater. And we put those pieces together, and they either have like point shoes on, or they have like Laduca boots on. And it just kind of captures who they are, like I said, in one picture. And it's so cool to see the different ideas that they come up with. And it's fun.
Exactly. I've done some photo shoots with pair of jeans,
Yeah.
a character heels, and a button down shirt with like my favorite hat or scarf or something like that. And it really did turn out way better than you imagine. I mean, it feels silly sometimes when you're doing those poses or jumping and, playing in the snow or playing in the leaves, but it really turns out magical because you capture that energy, you capture the movement. And sometimes it's hard to do that timing. I know I've done leaps a few times so they can capture the height of the leap.
Yes, you have to
So
have that camera setting right. And I've learned so much too, but just like trial and error of like, nope, we got to do it again, y'all. We got to do it again. We got to do it again. And I guess that just comes from a dancer perspective too. Dancers capturing dancers, we just have a different way of capturing dancers rather than a regular photographer trying to figure out when that right point of capturing that moment is.
that's what I was going to say. You have that insider's experience because you know what it feels like to do that grand jeté or that, jump in the air, that turn, that pirouette. You know when their leg is right into that passe, and you're going to be able to capture it probably quicker and easier than someone else that's not a dancer.
Yes.
So I love that. Dancers as photographers, I always say they make the best ones because they know when that movement is ready and that picture moment, you know what to look for. You have that eye.
Exactly.
Marcella, we're going to take a really quick break and we come back. Let's talk about how much all this is going to cost a dancer and maybe some advice, and some tips for that next generation so they can be prepared.
Yes, for sure.
All right. We'll be right back talking about headshots and so much more. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Marcella. She's in San Antonio, Texas, and she's getting to move soon to New York City. So excited on your journey. So speaking of costs, planning that headshot can be costly for some dancers. And sometimes we have to save up for a really long time. They can be really expensive. What's some maybe lower cost things that we can do, Marcella, to like be prepared for that headshot?
Yes, it's so interesting because I was actually looking into this the other day, looking into actually getting headshots of my own taken because I haven't had that in quite some time. And, there's a lot of photographers out in New York that are very established and their prices, which I get because they're beautiful headshots, they range from a good 300 to maybe like 700. And that is like reel for New York headshots, professionals. And honestly, in the end, you only get maybe 1 to 2 edited headshots. And that's a lot, right? A lot of money to spend. But I feel like at the same time, the quality of the headshots comes out for what you're like paying for. So I think that's really interesting. Like I said, what I was looking into a couple weeks ago. But there's also other photographers that I know here in town that are on the lower side from like 100 to 200, which I don't think is not a bad rate for what we get and what
That's
we
really
need.
good. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
But
know
I'm
these
like
are
around that price point of like 100, especially when I was in college, I didn't charge that much because we're college students. We don't have a lot of money to go take headshots, professional headshots at least. And so we even had a program at our school, which was really cool. A photographer came in one day to take some headshots, and they only charged us like $30 each dancer. And we got to take at least 10 different headshots. And it was
wow.
such a great deal. And it was because they understood as dancers, we don't have a lot of time and our money to go find those photographers. So that's what I did on the side is I only charged a little bit of amount. So dancers, when we were going up to do these professional, dance auditions in the springtime, we had those headshots that were just as good as the professional ones that you would get in New York. And it's
Yeah.
so cool. So I will say a side story. I took my friend's headshot right before we went to a dance audition in New York in February. And it was just, we didn't have a lot of equipment or anything. And we took it in the stairwell of our dance department. It had a beautiful green backdrop. And everyone's like, where did you take that headshot? Like, how do you have the equipment? I'm like, okay. I'm like, fine, I'll share the secret. It was in that stairwell. We took it, and it turns out he got the company position. And then of course the company posted that headshot on their Instagram and like tagged me. I was like, this is so cool. Like my headshot's like on a professional company now. Like
And that's all it takes. That's all it
exactly.
takes.
I was like, you don't need a lot.
You don't need a lot. And sometimes, so listen up, photographer wannabes, right? You know, learned a lot and go along the way with your friends and take those extra moments to take a photo shoot and ask your friends for all the help and advice to take those extra because it gives you experience.
Yes.
And look, it's going to land you jobs and get exposure. And I know that it's hard to get exposure in a way. And a lot of people say, well, you're getting exposure and experience. But that in turn pays off because when you do get that moment and when the opportunity strikes, then you're like, I'm cashing in. Here we are. So photographers out there that want, people that want to be that next photographer, especially if they are dancers, what
Yes.
advice do you have? Is it to keep taking photos of your friends and gain that portfolio?
Yes, no, I think it's exactly that. I mean, I started photography back. I was looking actually on my Instagram, like when did I start it and everything. I started like in 2016 just for fun and just capturing friends. Just that's how it all starts. Just finding your friends. Hey, can I take some pictures of you? Hey, can we like have a photo shoot? Hey, can we just experiment? Like that's where it all starts. So just to take pictures, just take them anywhere you go. I feel my friends always laugh because I feel like I always have a camera on hand with me. They know that I'm the person that will always have a camera. And my parents always laugh too. They're like, you don't need another camera. I think now to this day, I have like 7 different cameras that I have. I've collected cameras over the years from like digital to film to
That's
Polaroid
awesome.
to GoPro to anything you can think of. And so I think with any of like camera, it can just be your iPhone. Just capture the moments around you, whatever that inspires you, because you never know what you can capture. It could be something pretty magical. So yeah.
For sure. That's great advice. So if you're listening out there, I know a lot of dancers love taking photos and I know I love posing people. Like sometimes studios will call me and say, can you come in for the day and help me wrangle in these dancers and help them pose and do something different and unique? And so I'm always looking for advice. What can I be inspired by that gives them a new edge out there, something different, a different pose or a different thing to do? So we do a lot of improvisation. That's always a good thing to like just improv
Yes,
for a minute and
exactly.
capture the moment.
Just
So,
play around.
Marcella, what do you think your lesson that you've learned throughout this process? Do you have a life lesson that you're like, I wish I would have known this earlier? This is what I've learned by this.
I feel like it's so funny. I feel like I learn life lessons every single day, right? We learn something new every single day. And I think that's what's so cool is like we're always a student. Even though I just graduated, I'm always a student. I'm always learning, especially with my camera, not only with photography, but with dance and just in life in general. But I think the one thing I think that it has to do with photography and also with dance, and that I've kind of learned this past year, or the one that's been really stuck with me recently, is to not waste the waiting. And what I mean by that is that I feel like we're all waiting for something, and we're kind of just putting all of our attention into that one thing, that there's so many opportunities around us, so many different things that we could be doing when we're all just like consumed into that one idea. So like know that that one thing that you're waiting for, whether it be, if you're a dancer, right, maybe that audition that you're waiting to hear back from, or that school that you're waiting to get into, or it could be something in life. Maybe you're waiting for your dream job or that relationship, but just know like that thing that you're waiting for, it will come in time when you're waiting for it, just to live life and do other things. Because I always like to say, and I've said this repeatedly over this past year, is like, you are exactly where you're meant to be. Just know that, and that everything will come together in the end. And if it hasn't come together, then it's not the end yet. And so, yeah, just keep praying, waiting, and trusting. And within that waiting time, just keep living life to the fullest.
Perfect, Marcella. I say that all the time. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I have a lot of dancers that will message me and say, I'd really like to audition for your company. I know you're getting ready to have auditions again, but I'm waiting. I literally had somebody tell me the other day, but I'm waiting to hear back from blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Well, you could have been doing 3 or 4 shows with us and making some money in the meantime and gotten that experience, which might have put you on the edge.
Oh, yeah. It could lead you to another experience that you just never know.
Yeah. In fact, I've had some friends that have taken photography, taken some photos of my group in action, like at a performance, and their photograph landed in a magazine, which got them another job.
Exactly.
You never know. Never know where it leads in that one photo or that one moment. Somebody sees you perform on stage. It could lead you to a whole new, who knows what journey it will take you on. Marcella, thank you so much for coming on the dance floor today to share your advice. I feel like I could do another headshot again. I feel like maybe I have a little bit more confidence.
Yes, do it. Don't be scared. Have that confidence.
That's right. So I'm so glad you joined us and gave all of that today. I appreciate all of your time and effort today. And please come back. Once you move to New York, come back. Share a new experience with us. I can't wait.
I will. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Dance Floor. Again, I'm your host, Anna Harsh. And until next time, keep moving on the dance floor.